So you've always wanted to try out ballet, but you don't think you can do it because maybe you are too old, you don't have the right body type, or maybe you just can't afford the expensive classes. And let me tell you, you can still learn ballet with all of that. Hi, my name is Patricia, I'm 25, and I've been sharing my experience on starting ballet in my 20s. And as I've been sharing my experience, a lot of you guys actually have spoken to me and told me about some issues that you have been having, because learning ballet as an adult is not the easiest thing to do. And sometimes you just don't have the right conditions to learn ballet in the typical way of going to your neighborhood studio and starting to learn ballet as an adult. And throughout my journey, I've also encountered a few difficulties too, especially after being kicked out of ballet and moving out of my home country from Portugal to Iceland and not being able to find a studio here like I had back home. But now I found a bunch of solutions that I think are really helpful if you want to embark on your ballet journey, or maybe even just progress in the one that you are currently on because you are maybe feeling a bit stuck because you can't push yourself as hard as you would like. First of all, let me tell you, it's not too late. You can do ballet at any age and with whatever body type you have. And I've also spoken with a few people that maybe have some disabilities, like I do. I have a hip dysplasia that made exercise really difficult for me previously, but ballet has actually been so helpful with my chronic pain and for example, my legs used to pop off and now they don't. So I find ballet to be a great exercise if it's done in a correct way and if you are working with your own specific body conditions. And as an adult, you are way more aware of your body and its limitations, so it's very easy to understand what works for you and what doesn't, because I 100% believe that everyone can do it. It's just about finding the right ballet class for you with the right teacher that can accommodate for your own conditions. For example, I have seen some beautiful dancers that dance without arms, and I've also been able to find a bunch of classes that work with low mobility that you can actually do just by sitting on a chair. And I found amazing that ballet can now be so inclusive and you can actually do it with a different range of abilities. So if you want to start your ballet journey, the way that you would start is finding a studio that can take adult classes, but sometimes they just don't exist. It's becoming really trendy to start ballet as an adult, but some studios are still not up to that trend, so they may not offer ballet classes for adults. And if that's your case, reach out to every studio that you can find and ask if you can join with your age. When I started, it was literally that. I joined a mixed class from ages from 14 until 25, and it was such a cool environment, and I really did enjoy having classes with younger dancers and not just only adults. And eventually when I moved to Iceland, I actually didn't really enjoy the classes with adults, so I asked again more studios if I could join classes with younger people, because I feel like they were more challenging. You don't really advance that much just from beginner classes, which kind of sucks. And sometimes with younger students, they still think they can be professionals, so they are sometimes more willing to teach adults proper ballet, and that's kind of sad, but that's the reality. So maybe you can try that out too. But if your problem is confidence, I have to be honest, adult classes are not what you see in the movies. No one is judging you, and to be real, they don't really care about you at all. Everyone is just focused on themselves and not really comparing their bodies. They are just trying to have fun and learn something that is new and exciting. So looking at your body and what you are doing in class is not something that adults really do. And from everything that I've encountered and everyone that I've spoken to, it's just such a fun and welcoming environment and an adult ballet class that I don't think anyone is really going to judge you, so don't think about that. But if you want to go to a class maybe a bit more prepared, you can look up some ballet terminology. You have a bunch of videos that just teach you the 6 positions, the basic arm positions too. You can maybe learn a few simple steps, the names, not how to do them, because you will do that in class. But if you want to know what the glissade is before you go to class. That might be helpful. I actually did that and I was way more like confident in my first class and not so lost. So maybe that can be helpful, but also you are supposed to be lost in your first classes. It's actually really fun and it's okay to just suck. You are probably gonna suck. If you didn't do it growing up, your body is just not used to ballet and to the positions and the angles and the way that your limbs are supposed to like bend. That's not a reality for you and that's normal. Like, you are there to learn and the more you do it, the better you'll get. But that initial few months, you are just gonna suck and that's okay. But if for some reason you don't feel what I'm telling you in a class, like, just drop it. Find something that actually works for you, because you are supposed to feel good and have fun in a class and not let any teacher make you feel bad about yourself, because that's not how ballet works nowadays. In-person classes can be very, very important because a teacher can see everything that you are doing from every angle and correct you if you are doing something wrong, especially in the beginning. It's very difficult to teach yourself because you don't actually know what you are doing. But if for some reason you are starting at home, or maybe you are just like doing a class a week or a class a month and you want to work a bit more, you can film yourself doing the classes at home. In that way you can look back and see everything that you were maybe doing wrong, and that can be very helpful when it comes to like fixing your position, because while you are doing the exercise, it's very hard to like correct yourself. And also, a class environment, like I said, can be very fun, and it can really help with motivation when it comes to starting a new hobby, because just by doing it at home, it's just not as fun. Even if you are really motivated in the beginning, it's very hard to stay on track and actually doing it on a regular basis. But if you can't find any studio that is the right fit for you, if you can only find, for example, one class a week, which is literally my example, I have been doing just one class a week, and that's not enough for the goals that I had with ballet. I had to find some unconventional ways of learning ballet, and the best option for you is really dependent on what you are looking for. If you are looking for something to replace your in-person classes, or something that you can do as an add-on to the classes that you already have to improve some skill, or maybe like get on point, because sometimes that's just not offered for adults. And because of that, I'm just going to rank them from the cheapest to the most like expensive option, because if your issue is finances, this can really determine what can work for you. So first, for the free option, it's YouTube videos, which is kind of obvious, but you have a ton of amazing classes out there, from bar classes to center classes, for technique classes. You can just learn whatever you want. You can pause the videos. In that way, if you have some limitations with your body and you are not so fit at the moment, you can work in your own rhythm, maybe do half of a class in one day and the other half in another day. That can be a great option for you. And also, it's really good to also do some strength training, because in ballet and dance in general, you use very specific muscles that are not really used in another sport. So if you are used to like going to the gym and doing like your regular strength training, you might not be working some muscles that you need to use for ballet. For example, like your hip flexors. I have never done like a workout for my hip flexors before I started to dance, and now it's really, really important. I kind of wish I had. And when I started to exercise more on top of my ballet classes to help me with being a better dancer, I looked up a bunch of like workouts for ballerinas, and they were great for that purpose. The videos that I like mostly recommend, because those are just the ones that I watch more often, is obviously Catherine Morgan. She's amazing. Her classes are fantastic. She has classes for every level that you can think, and also she has some really good like strength training exercises for like specific body areas. And also Jasmine McDonald, she just has some great like workout videos for certain like areas that you might be targeting. I have done a bunch of others, but these are the ones that I really like. And if you have any others that you like, just leave them in the comments. It might help someone else too. And for the paid things, the cheapest option that I found is Ballet Active, which is actually from the English National Ballet, and it's a great platform. They have a bunch of classes, bar, center, everything, and they also have a bunch of like workout classes. But the best thing that I found that they have is that like low mobility classes. They have a series of classes that you can do by sitting on a chair, which I find amazing. And their subscription starts from $12.99 per month. And again, they have a bunch of things that you can add on, but I found that to be the cheapest option, like the starting level. Then the next option is Broche Ballet, which I was really recommended by everyone when I shared that I was kicked out of my studio and I didn't have a place to take classes, because it's a great program for adult dancers. They have beginner courses, but also more advanced levels. They also have a point course where you can do the preparation for point and actually start your point journey there. You can request some evaluation and they can draw like a program for you. The basic subscription for this starts at $15 per month. You have a bunch of classes, but then you have to pay extra for the live classes and for like the point classes and all of that. I think you also have to pay extra. I haven't tried this one by myself, but I was highly recommended and people do seem to enjoy it. Then it's Grace Inform, and for this one I actually did try by myself, and it's this platform that was created by two dancers. One of them is actually in ABT, the American Ballet Theater, which is one of the biggest like ballet companies in the US, and the other dancer is more focused on like physical like therapy and exercises that can help you with ballet. And it's a great platform because you have like the calendar option where you can like build your own program and schedule everything, and it starts from $20 per month, but those $20 already include the live classes, and they have a bunch of like weekly classes, and it's a growing platform, so you know that you are getting new content, and the production of these videos is like very like high quality, so I really appreciate that part too. And they also have like yoga classes and Pilates classes and bar classes, so I find this platform to be really great if you want to add some training to your current ballet classes. It can also work as a substitute for your own classes, which is how I started in the beginning, but I think it works even better if you are using it like mainly as an add-on. But you can just check it out. I did work as an ambassador for them on Instagram when they first reached out to me, and if you want to check this out, I do have a link in the description, but like don't feel forced to do it. I just genuinely like really liked the platform when I tried it, and I've been using it for a few months and I really do recommend it. The next one is Dance Masterclass, and I think this one everyone has seen it like online because I'm always having ads for this platform, and on TikTok and YouTube they are everywhere. And I've also been seeing some sponsored posts from some dancers and also not sponsored posts from them. I haven't tried it, but from every review that I watched, everyone does seem to like it. They have really good courses on like specific topics. For example, if you want to learn how to do a better like pirouette, they have like a course on how to do pirouettes. So they start like with explaining how they work, and then they go into like a more advanced level, like how to do a triple or like 20, I don't know, how many whatever you want to do. And they also have like anatomy courses for ballet, which can be really helpful. I cannot express how important it is to understand how your own body works when you are trying to learn ballet. It can really help explaining like why you are doing something, specifically which muscles do you need to target, for example, to like get high extensions and all of that, and I think that can be really helpful. But again, I didn't try this by myself, but I've heard that it's really great, and their basic subscription starts from $29 per month. And then we have the membership for Catherine Morgan and Friends. Like, I know her classes are fantastic, the ones that I watch for free on YouTube, and from people that I've spoke to, they also say that the paid program is also very good because you get access to a bunch more content, and she has live classes and Zoom classes can be very good because in that way the teacher is actually seeing you, so maybe they can like give you suggestions, and you can also interact with the teacher, which is very helpful instead of just doing a class by yourself with no corrections. But They also have a bunch of like add-on things that you can add to your subscription. I think it's like $50 per month, and it can also be helpful for you. I didn't try this one by myself because I was already trying other options, but from what I've heard, it's also really great if that's an option that seems good for you. Then on like the more expensive range, which is not that expensive when you think about it, it's Studio B, which is the classes that I'm taking at the moment, because after trying all these platforms, I realized that my biggest issue was accountability. I have a very like busy, hectic schedule with having 3 jobs and trying to do a master's at the same time. So if I didn't have like specific schedules for classes that I needed to take and people that were going to see me, I would be very flaky with taking classes, which was not very good. And even though the platforms were great, it just wasn't enough to help me accountable. So I started to take classes with Studio B. It's just live classes on Zoom. It's not a class where you have like 50 people. It's like actually more like 10 people, sometimes up to like 15, but it's never that many. And the teacher really knows you, and she's amazing. She gives the best corrections because it's such a like small group. It's like actually a really like tight community, and I wasn't expecting to be like so wholesome by being a class that is mainly on Zoom because you're online. And if classes during COVID times were awful online, I was expecting it to be something like that, but it's not. It's fantastic, and they start from 3 euros per class, which is definitely not a lot if you are like taking individual like in-person classes. They can start from like 20 to 25 to even like 30 euros per class, and I find this one to be really affordable. And I'm actually doing like the full membership, which gives me access to like 9 classes a week, which is great. We have Ballet 1, Ballet 2, Ballet 3 is also an option, but I'm not taking that one because I'm not that advanced yet. And then preparation for Point, which I've been sharing my journey taking those classes because it's really exciting, and I just got my first timeline for Point shoes, which is so great. I never thought that I was going to be able to get on point if I wasn't taking like a bunch of classes in a studio per week, and I find it to be really great that I can do that here. And I find that having these classes plus sometimes doing other workouts, it's a perfect schedule for me, and I have been loving it. So if you want to try out a class from Studio B, maybe like a pre-point class and just taking a class per week, or Ballet 1 or something, I highly recommend it. You have a bunch of options of like class packages that you can try out. Again, all the links from all the platforms that I've mentioned are going to be in the description. And lastly, the most expensive option that I haven't tried yet is just taking private classes. If you do have the money, they are great. Basically, to take a private class, you just need to find a teacher that is willing to give them to you, and you just book a time that works for you and the teacher. You don't have to think about anyone else, and you get specific training for you. And because it's just you in the class, you get way more like corrections and tips if you were like taking a class in a group setting, because it's just you. And when I was kicked out of my ballet studio, I was recommended to take those because I needed to learn a lot more basis to actually be able to keep up with the classes that I was taking before, because I was not in that level and they were too advanced for me. But I couldn't really afford them, sadly. But maybe in the future I can also add some private classes into my training to get like more specific things down. In that way I can improve more as a dancer, and from what I've heard, it's a very like fast way to improve your skills. So if you do have that option financially, I think it's really great. Like, I know my ballet teacher also does them online, so if you can't do that in your own area, you can also check it out and maybe see if a private Zoom class is an option for you. Maybe. And basically these were all the options that I found of like unconventional ways of learning ballet. But if you have found another one, please let me know. Say something in the comments. I would love to share more resources with people because it was a really big struggle for me when I lost my ballet studio and I didn't have a place to practice. So I would really like to compile a list of good resources that I could share with people if they are in the same situation as me and if they want to like improve and learn and continue to enjoy ballet or try it for the first time. So yeah, I really hope that this was useful. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. I do a lot more content about ballet, so if you want to check that out, I hope that you can subscribe for more content, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!